Part 85. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 851. After telling him about this place, Black God Kunwu was a little proud and wanted to see Wu Yu pissed off after being scared to death. After all, the Yanhuang people who come here should basically know what kind of place the Blood Hell Cave is. As I write this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. But Wu Yu didn't react at all and said, "You know how to get to the bloody hell cave, so you will lead the way. If you try to trick me, I will let you taste the taste of being beaten." Seeing that he didn't care at all, Black God Kunwu was extremely shocked and said, "Oh my god, don't you know where the blood hell cave is? Did I hear you right? You want to go to the blood hell cave? You Tianlong's general, no one dares to approach alone." Seeing his exaggerated attitude, it seemed that it was indeed a troublesome place, so Wu Yu asked, "Then tell me, where is the blood hell cave?" "Tianlong general, at least the 4th level or above of the 3 catastrophe realm, they dare not go alone?" Black God Kunwu sneered, "That is one of the gathering places of the Ghost Flame clan, deep in the lava hell. It is the hiding place of the Ghost Flame clan, and it is also one of their fortresses. It has existed for countless years, and there has never been any Yanhuang clan I been there, and most of the Yanhuang tribe can't bear the scorching heat of the lava there. It's also a place where the powerful people of the Ghost Flame tribe gather, and there are many soul transformation realms everywhere, including 3 disaster realms, all of them can do it. If your life is yours, how dare you go after that ghost warrior?" Haha. He couldn't help laughing. Is that it? After hearing this, Wu Yu had no reaction. He thought it was some special place, but it turned out to be where he had imagined, where the Ghost Flame clan was hiding and gathering. It should be regarded as the city of the Ghost Flame clan. "What else do you want?" Black God Kunwu looked at him blankly. "Take me to the bloody hell grotto. If you don't want to, I can send you back to the west now. If you get to the bloody hell grotto, what happens next is my own. When the time comes, I will naturally let you leave," Wu Yu Zheng said. Black God Kunwu looked at him in disbelief. To be honest, he had never seen such a bold person before. This is really incredible. Anyway, he didn't understand. "Have you made a decision? Should you die or live?" Wu Yu asked. His beaming Emperor K can tear the opponent to pieces at any time now, and he is also ready to kill the opponent. Anyway, he knows that there are many Ghost Flame clan in the Blood Hell Cave. Live, I will lead the way." Although Black God Kunwu is a demon, he can be regarded as accommodated by the Ghost Flame clan. He has also been to the Blood Hell Cave a few times. He just felt that Wu Yu did not dare to go and wanted him to. Of course he was happy to lead the way and let him return to his own territory. It can only be said that after being surrendered by Wu Yu, he thought he was going to lose his life, but then this happiness came too suddenly. "I'll lead the way, you follow me." "Untie me first," Black God Kunwu asked tentatively. Of course Wu Yu would not let him go. He just relaxed a little and let the dragon-shaped symbols all over the opponent's body be retracted, so that he could come out of the frozen state and be able to barely move. However, Wu Yu's beaming Emperor K was still entangled to death. He wants the other person's life, but he can still do it quickly. "Just point in the direction," Wu Yu said. "Okay, let's go this way." Black God Kunwu was convinced by Wu Yu. He was only responsible for telling the direction, and then Wu Yu hurried on with a somersault cloud, dragging him like an animal, towards Black God Kunwu. "Go in the direction I pointed out. Blood Yan Cave. Haha, when you get here, you will know what it means to be scary." Black God Kunwu looked at Wu Yu and couldn't help but laugh in his heart. "I'm so stupid, I can think of everything." Because he was going to the Blood Hell Cave, Wu Yu slowed down. He did not go as fast as before, but took his time. After all, after catching the Black God Kunwu, If he accidentally entered the magic circle, he could come out, but this black god Shen Kunwu was trapped inside, which was also a loss for him. It was not easy to find another person who knew the way. Along the way, the black god Kunwu kept chattering, but Wu Yu still told him to shut up. This demon is so impatient that he may not even want to endure the blood hell cave so that he can attract the attention of other ghost flame tribes and save him on the way. You'd better think carefully. If you lose your life then, don't blame me. Losing your life in front of ghost cultivators is not just a simple death. Your flesh, blood, soul, and even a little skin can be used by them. Becomes the strength of people. Every ghost cultivator rises by stepping on the bones of others. Wu Yu didn't listen to what he said. Emissary of the Emperor, suddenly someone called him from behind, probably attracted by the demonic aura of the black god Kunwu, and then he saw Wu Yu. Wu Yu looked back and saw that it was the flame dragon general named Lu Yu. She protected herself in the magma with a thin film of light, blocking the surrounding lava. Under the light film, her lips were red and her teeth were white. Even though she was older, you couldn't tell at all. Her cute appearance was like that of a young girl in early childhood. Her skin was as smooth and tender as water, and she looked very young under the light of the fire. White and rosy, as moist as a ripe peach. It makes you want to take a bite. I didn't expect that the Emperor would reach such a deep place so quickly. What does the Emperor want to do when he captures a demon? Lu Yu said, with charming eyes and a soft and seductive voice. Seemed to want to please Wu Yu and give Wu Yu a good impression. Although she has a very good attitude towards him, she is also a competitor. However, Wu Yu is not worried about her going to the Blood Hell Cave, so he said, I found out that the ghost array guest is hiding in the Blood Hell Cave, so I want this demon to I will lead the way to kill the ghost warriors in Xuanhuan Cave. Xuanhuan Cave, Lu Yu's red lips were slightly open, and her fair face revealed a slightly frightened look. She hurriedly said, the Blue Dian Cave is the deepest place where the Ghost Flame clan has gathered. For countless years, there has been no the Yanhuang tribe has been there. How can you be so bold and dare to go anywhere? She looked worried and anxious. Wu Yu smiled slightly and said, Sister Lu, don't worry, I have my own sense of proportion. This time I go to Xuanhuan Cave, I don't think Sister Lu will want to go there with me before, after all, it is too dangerous for you. Wu Yu's name as Sister Lu could not bring Lu Yu back to her senses. She shook her head and frowned, saying, this can't be done. I won't go there to see you off. Don't go either, Wu Yu, you must understand, Wuji Tianzu is very precious, but compared with life, it is not worth it. If a person dies, then there will be nothing. You are a newborn calf and are not afraid of tigers. Blood Hell Cave, there are a lot of scary things. She was concerned about herself, but Wu Yu had already made a decision. He said, don't worry, I do have my own sense of discretion. I'll leave now. After saying that, he held the black god Kunwu and continued to go deeper. Go, behind him, Lu Yu followed up, beside Wu Yu, and said anxiously, Wu Yu, do you really not listen to dissuasion? Blood Yan Cave, that is not a place where Yanlong general can go, even if it is a few Tianlong the generals will unite and dare not go down. In order to survive, the Guiyan tribe attaches great importance to their last base. If you offend there, the Guiyan tribe will be furious, and the consequences will definitely be quite miserable. Then, how do you deal with the ghost guests? Wu Yu asked. We can only think of ways to set up bait and wait for him to show up. I don't have the time. As the saying goes, people who are different do not work together, so he made a decision and went straight down. Lu Yu looked at him with a red face, anxious and angry. Wu Yu did not listen to the dissuasion, and she was also very angry. In the end, Wu Yu was very fast, and in the blink of an eye just disappeared before her eyes. After Wu Yu disappeared, she suddenly smiled and said, this fool went to die in a hurry, so he lost a competitor. But the ghost array guest is really timid. Now he is hiding in the blood hell cave. How can he attack? It's really annoying to kill him. It seems that we can only wait or look for bait. There are many ghost flame tribes around here. I wonder if any of them can force the ghost array guest out. While she was thinking about it, Wu Yu continued to go deeper. The black god Kunwu was eager to get to the blood hell cave right away, so he said nothing and let Wu Yu lead him forward, leisurely and leisurely. How much longer? Go straight down, keep the speed, there are still 5 days. It didn't take him that long to get from the divine capital to Yanlong Castle. Although his speed in the lava hell was very low, it could still be proved that the lava hell was really deep, and at Wu Yu's current position, the surrounding area was actually basically there is no Yanhuang tribe anymore, it is all the ghost Yan tribe that is active. To be honest, if you can't hold on to the blood Yan cave, you will be killed by the ghost flame clan along the way. Haha, black god Kunwu couldn't help laughing. As soon as he finished speaking, he shut up immediately, because he realized that it was better not to let Wu Yu know about it, and just let him lead him deeper like a fool. Fortunately, it seemed that Wu Yu had no reaction and continued to delve deeper. The deeper you go, the hotter the lava becomes. Wu Yu's indestructible body and piercing eyes are of course very comfortable in such a world. This seems to be his world. The hotter the heat, the more comfortable he becomes. Whether it is King Kong or not. Both the bad body and the fiery eyes have grown, and obviously, the deeper they go, the hotter they become. It's incredible that the Ghost Flame clan can survive in such a hot place. I was forced. Otherwise, who would want to survive in a place like this? If they couldn't adapt, they would have been exterminated long ago. Minglong said. Sometimes, the adaptability of life is really strong. The Ghost Yan clan is indeed terrifying, and it has been many years. In fact, the Yanhuang clan no longer understands what kind of changes it has undergone. With ancient Emperor Yanhuang here, there should be nothing to worry about. After all, ancient Emperor Yanhuang will definitely not let any accidents happen. There shouldn't be too many people in the Ghost Flame clan. Wu Yu thought to himself. Chapter 5th. I'm going to, it's really chapter 5. Then take the photos the day after tomorrow, friends who read books, you can search for and you will find this site as soon as possible. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 852. There are indeed many ghost flame tribes around. Under the harsh lava hell environment, those who can survive here are all strong. When encountering them, Wu Yu must be extra careful. After all, he doesn't know the exact location of the blood hell cave yet, so he can't lose the black god Kunwu. The deeper he goes, the more the surrounding magma boils. Even the Yanhuang tribe, which is known for its proficiency in fire, can't survive in such hot magma, let alone the Biming tribe. After coming here, the black god Kunwu was very excited. He didn't shout now. He estimated that as long as he shouted, many ghost flame tribes would come forward to rescue him. This kid is very smart and has a sharp eye. He was discovered in advance when he took him through several magic arrays. Since that was the case, he made up his mind to take Wu Yu to the blood hell cave, so that Wu Yu would not be able to escape. From Wu Yu's perspective, the lava hell is endless, and sometimes you feel desperate because you always feel like you can't get out of the end of this hell. Maybe going down further will really lead to the real hell. Of course, this legend is just like the top of Qingtianshu mountain, where you can see the heavenly palace, which is all false. Regeneration in the lava hell can't reach hell. The dream of ghost cultivators is to reach hell and become a ghost god. This is the same as Wu Yu and his friends wanting to become immortals. But at this time, Wu Yu and Minglong were still discussing other issues. In the Yanhuang ancient domain, it should be quite difficult to improve the Vajra indestructible body to another realm. I haven't been here in the lava hell before, but I also considered that it is possible that in the deepest part of this place, there is a place where the Vajra indestructible body can be subjected to a deeper level and surpass the current Dragon King Buddha indestructible body. Can there be such a place in this depth? Although the surroundings are extremely hot, Wu Yu knows that it is definitely far from being able to improve the Vajra indestructible body. According to my estimation, this lava hell is still very deep, and even the place where all the ghost flames are located may not be the deepest place. In any case, if possible, it doesn't hurt to go down and take a look. If such a place really exists, it is more important than improving your fire eyes and golden pupils, or obtaining the infinite pillar of heaven. That makes sense. Wu Yu is now in this lava hell, and has two goals for the time being. One is to improve the fire eyes and golden pupils and enter the fire fairyland, and the other is to kill the ghost array guest and get the infinite pillar of heaven. Both are difficult, but both have the possibility of success. If the indestructible body of Vajra can enter the next level, the combat effectiveness of the main body can be greatly improved. Wu Yu is now mainly using the body of the swallowing sky plus the combat effectiveness of the North Ming Emperor. Next, he continued to go deeper underground, avoiding various magic arrays and many ghost flames. After reaching the depths, Wu Yu found that the number of ghost flames was really large, which was almost like a country established here, and there were many, many more that he had not seen. Roughly speaking, it might be equivalent to a small country in the Yanhuang ancient domain. I didn't expect that the Ghost Flame clan could still thrive to such an extent in such a harsh environment. The Blood Hell Cave is coming soon. You must be prepared. I can't take you in after arriving here. The black god Kunwu was a little arrogant. Obviously, this simple-minded guy thought he was safe. Surrounded by the fiery red-hot magma, the deafening roar at the boiling moment was just like the waves on the sea. Under the storm, the undercurrent was surging. Wu Yu's fiery eyes penetrated the magma and saw the deepest place. There seemed to be an extremely huge sphere there, as big as a city, at least equivalent to the scale of the North Ming Empire and the extreme North Cold Fairy City. Moreover, it was big and ugly, like a blood ball covered with bumps. A closer look showed that there were many holes on the blood ball, densely packed like a honeycomb. You can also see many Ghost Flame clan members going in and out of these holes. Obviously, this place is equivalent to a city built by the Ghost Flame clan in the lava hell. Of course, Wu Yu was far enough away now. He could only see very far with his fire eyes. Ordinary people could not see the scene in that place at all. It's already very deep here. The ghost array guest is here. Other Yanlong generals really can't do anything to him. Such a place, even if the Tianlong generals come together, they dare not come, except me. Wu Yu was still quite confident in the magical power passed down to him by the Monkey King. Especially the last Somersault Cloud. Somersault Cloud has many functions, Wu Yu just hasn't dug it out for the time being. He is confident that he will be able to show more earth-shaking abilities in the future, not just to let himself escape, but also to enhance his abilities. Have you seen it? That's the Blood Hell Cave. You can let me go. Black God Kunwu pointed at the Blood Hell Cave and said. Wu Yu finally stopped. From now on, he really doesn't need Black God Kunwu to lead the way for him. Should I kill him? Wu Yu hesitated a little, and finally chose to respect what he said. Since he promised Black God Kunwu that he would release him, he should keep his word and release Beiming Emperor K, so that Black God Kunwu can regain his freedom. Black God Kunwu, seeing that Wu Yu really released him, could not help but feel excited, but he still held back and said, "Goodbye, no, never see you again." After saying that, he immediately fled in disgrace. He fled in the direction of the Blood Hell Cave. Wu Yu smiled as he watched him flee. In fact, he knew what the Black God Kunwu wanted to do. This chapter is not over yet. Please click on the next page to continue reading. Sure enough, when the Black God Kunwu approached the Blood Hell Cave, he looked back and saw that Wu Yu was already far away from him. He suddenly shouted, "There are Yanhuang people who come here to chase and kill the ghost formation guest. They are behind me. Someone come." The blood hell cave was still very silent. When the black god Kunwu used all his strength to shout loudly, it soon spread in the lava. For a moment, the blood hell cave immediately moved. Wu Yu could clearly see that many ghosts rushed out of the holes in the blood hell cave. In a short period of time, many ghost Yan people locked onto Wu Yu. Sure enough, there was no shortage of strong people among them. Most of those who rushed out were in the Yuan Shen Huaxing realm, and there must be strong people in the three disasters asking the Wei realm among them. How dare the Yanhuang clan come to the blood hell cave? Are they really brave? I didn't expect that in such a place. The ghost Yan clan was very arrogant. After rushing out and locking onto Wu Yu, they immediately swarmed towards the side, and more people rushed over. Obviously, they hated the Yanhuang clan to the bone. It was a hatred of extermination of the clan and a life and death feud of countless generations. When Wu Yu came to their territory, it was enough to detonate their emotions and make them all crazy. They rushed out like the wind, laughing loudly and sneering sharply. Maybe for them, when Wu Yu was locked by them, it was impossible for him to get out, no matter how strong he was. Of course, Wu Yu was so young that he couldn't be at the level of the commander of the 8 legions. If he was the commander of the legion, they would have to send out real strong men. The performance of the black god Kunwu was not beyond Wu Yu's expectations, but he didn't care. He was not so naive as to think that he could sneak into the blood hell cave and kill the ghost array guest alone. Besides, he was no match for the ghost array guest at all, so his fundamental purpose was just to see where the blood hell cave was. Now that he remembered this place, he could leave first. After talking with Ming long before, Wu Yu's current goal became to explore the deepest part of this lava hell. The blood hell cave was not the deepest part. He had to go down, and he was alone. In this way, no matter what danger he encountered, the somersault cloud could take him away. To this extent, he was actually more suitable than the Legion commander to travel through the deepest part of this lava hell and explore the mysteries therein. Somersault cloud. Wu Yu integrated the somersault cloud into his body, making his body become a part of the somersault cloud. When those ghost cultivators chased him, he somersaulted and disappeared in front of everyone in an instant. This was not a simple escape, but a direct disappearance. All the people who came out of the blood hell cave lost track of Wu Yu. They originally thought that Wu Yu had just hidden himself, so they continued to chase him. When they arrived at Wu Yu's location, they found that there was no trace of Wu Yu around. What's going on? He escaped under the eyes of so many of us. Several core elders gathered together. These elders were all fierce and howling, and their eyes were full of a gloomy world. Wherever they went, black fog was lingering, and their true appearance could not be seen clearly. It disappeared in an instant, as if it had entered another world. This seems to be a teenager, and he doesn't look very strong. How could he do this? Could he have some magical power or ancient inheritance? Black God Kunwu, come here. In fact, Black God Kunwu was also dumbfounded. He just shouted for fun, and Wu Yu disappeared. At this time, he was timid and ran to the front of everyone. Facing so many powerful ghosts, he trembled. Who was that guy just now? The Black God Kunwu said, he was from the Yanhuang tribe. He captured me and said he was looking for Gui's Hanki. I told him that Gui's Hanki was in Xuanhuan cave, so he followed me and let me go after he got here. Gui's Hanki. When he mentioned this name, a man walked out of the crowd. It was Gui's Hanki. He looked in the direction where Wu Yu just disappeared and said, I know who this young man is. It seems that he is the one who escaped from me last time. How dare he come here to find me? Friends who read books, you can search for to find this site as soon as possible. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 853. Ghost Array Guest. What's going on? Everyone focused their attention on Ghost Array Guest. The guest from the ghost formation said, "This little guy has a strange ability to escape. Even the magic circle can't trap him, so he dares to break into our place. Everyone saw that ability just now. It's really amazing." Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. As for why he appeared here, he obviously thought he was very good at escaping. He wanted to take revenge. Last time, I killed several hidden dragon generals from the Yanhuang tribe, so he escaped on his own. There are such young people? It is indeed not easy to escape from your magic circle. However, the Yanhuang people coming to such a deep place are a provocation to us. Since you attracted him, then it's up to you to solve it, and as soon as possible. An old man in the middle, shrouded in black mist, spoke in a low voice with a very old voice. "Don't worry, I'm going to find someone who can trap this little guy, solve it, and never let him affect our plan. As long as you know the importance of the plan, you must not let the Yanhuang tribe know about this in advance. This is a sensitive period, and if something goes wrong, it will be your responsibility." Yes, I promise to complete the mission," the Ghost Array Guest promised, a little scared, and nodded repeatedly. After finishing speaking, these people who came out of the Xuanhuan cave returned to the Xuanhuan cave one after another. The Xuanhuan cave was very tight. In fact, there were several magic circles surrounding it, making it airtight. These were all to guard against the Yanhuang tribe. It is a magic circle passed down from generation to generation by the Ghost Yan clan. Once the Yanhuang clan approaches, it will be activated immediately. With Wu Yu's current strength, there is no need to consider that Wu Yu can sneak into the Blood Yan cave. The reason why the Ghost Array is used it is also for the sake of ensurance that the customer resolves the matter as early as possible. This guy has so many secrets. If I can kill him, maybe I can change my destiny. However, his ability to escape is really great. I have to find someone who can specifically restrain him. Fortunately, Xuanhuan, it seems that someone can do it, but if that happens, I will definitely share the benefits with him, and I won't be willing to do so. The Ghost Array Guest couldn't help but smile coldly when he thought of Wu Yu. He actually knows that among the 8 legions of the Yanhuang tribe, there are quite a few who are offering bounties to him. However, as long as he does not leave here, nothing will happen to him. After all, for him, causing huge losses to the Yanhuang tribe is not his first priority. Wu Yu escaped from the Blood Hell Grotto, then bypassed the Blood Hell Grotto and continued towards the deepest part of the lava hell. Now that he is not hindered by the black god Kun Wu, his speed can be increased again. Now he is not afraid of entering any magic circle at all, because basically according to the general rules, as soon as he enters, he can jump out immediately. The direction Wu Yu was heading was, on the one hand, directly downwards, and on the other hand, he was heading towards the hotter place he felt. Judging from the current situation, basically the lower you go, the higher the temperature of the magma will be. It is so high that ordinary ascetics will not be able to survive here even if they use many Taoist techniques. It's already heated to such an extent that it exceeds the extreme that would normally occur in the mortal world. As you go deeper, it's impossible not to have some sources of heat. These sources of heat are what you really need. Follow Ming Tong's advice. Wu Yu continued to go deeper. This place is already deeper than the Blood Hell Cave, and even the Ghost Flame clan will find it difficult to survive in this place forever. Of course, the Ghost Flame clan should have other bases, some of which should be deeper. Wu Yu's rapid progress was precisely because he didn't hide it, so the more magic circles and Ghost Flame tribes he encountered, Basically he would see a ghost flame tribe after a while, and every now and then, he would accidentally enter the magic circle that others didn't know about. Most of the time, he jumped away before the magic circle was activated. In this way, the Ghost Flame clan really has no way to do anything to him. Time passed very quickly. In the blink of an eye, after passing through the bloody hell cave, he went deeper into the cave for another 3 days. Within 3 days, there should have been hundreds of Ghost Flame tribes encountered. Most of these Ghost Flame tribes had lost sight of Wu Yu before he could see them clearly. To such an extent, the heat is so terrible that even the indestructible body feels like it is being burned severely, and sometimes the pain is unbearable. This place is indeed unreasonably hot. Minglong believes that there is likely to be something that can produce such a high temperature nearby. Wu Yu will search according to the temperature. He will try to walk in various directions and then choose a temperature. The most obvious direction of improvement is not just downward at this time, but sometimes it may be left or right, and the direction is always changing, as if the hottest place is always changing its position. Normally, it is there will be no obvious changes. How could this heat source be moving? Minglong also found it a bit incredible. They continued to search and search, either continuing down to see if there was a gathering place for the Ghost Flame clan in deeper places, or looking for a heat source that would be useful to Wu Yu. Of course, there cannot be only one heat source in the entire lava hell. This must be due to countless historical reasons. The huge volcanic lava formed by the heaven and earth, and the heat source Wu Yu is looking for, is just the reason why the area near him becomes extremely hot. Places like lava hell are basically miracles created by heaven and earth in endless years. With his fiery eyes, he quickly searched everywhere without fear. In this lava hell, his various magical powers and his indestructible body gave him an advantage over ordinary people. It's really hot. Even the indestructible body of Vajra feels the burning sensation. Wu Yu guessed that he might be close to the heat source. There was a fiery red in front of his eyes, and there was boiling magma everywhere. Huh! Suddenly, it seemed that something passed by in front of his eyes. It was like a small fish. The speed of the small fish was very fast, and it was fiery red all over. It disappeared in front of Wu Yu in the blink of an eye. When it passed by, it really burned Wu Yu all over and almost got burned. What is this? It has such heat. The hotter the thing, the more he likes it. Therefore, although he was almost burned, he still chased it, and at the speed of the somersault cloud, he tried his best. The speed of the fiery red fish was also very fast. It seemed to have intelligence. It hit here and there, rolled everywhere, and set off a heat wave all over the sky. However, because it was too conspicuous in Wu Yu's eyes, it was difficult to get rid of Wu Yu. Of course, every time Wu Yu approached it, the fingers he stretched out would be burned black. For the time being, it may be difficult to catch this thing. What is this thing, and what use is it to me? Wu Yu hurriedly asked Minglong to see it clearly. The main thing is to see its use. Minglong thought that finding the burning treasures in this lava hell might help Wu Yu's fire eyes or indestructible body to improve. Just like the fire source crystal stone he encountered in the ancient Immortal Road before. Wu Yu has been chasing him. After approaching him several times, Minglong finally saw him clearly. She couldn't help laughing and said, "To be honest, you are really lucky and awesome. Why does good luck always fall on your head? It's really unfair." "What do you mean? Stop talking nonsense and tell me." Minglong pouted and said, "Look at your impatient look. I don't like impatient men." Wu Yu was depressed. Every time at this time, he couldn't beat Minglong. He could only talk to her in a pleasant voice according to the requirements of this lady. Minglong was satisfied and said, "This is not a living creature. It is a kind of treasure. If we talk about spiritual patterns, there should be 9. The one with more than 9 spiritual patterns is called Fire Spirit Immortal Liquid. It is said that this is the oil that the gods put in the oil lamps in the heavenly palace, just like the kerosene of mortals. The gods use the fire of the gods to ignite the fire spirit immortal liquid, and the flames that are born can illuminate the sky and burn for endless years. It is said that there was no fire spirit immortal liquid in the mortal world. It was the immortals in the sky who accidentally knocked over the lamp, allowing the fire spirit immortal liquid to come to the world. Of course, what you see in front of you is only 9 spiritual patterns, which should have been diluted. It sounds like it is indeed an amazing treasure. There is such a rumor. I just don't know what the use of such a fire spirit immortal liquid is. Wu Yu still wants to know this. Ming Long said, "This is something from the gods. The fire spirit immortal liquid can be absorbed and used to forge the body. It is said that some gods swallowed this fire spirit immortal liquid and then assisted in the practice of body forging. As long as they can withstand the power of the fire spirit immortal liquid, they will have the effect of strengthening the body. Your Vajra indestructible body has a better absorption capacity for this fire spirit immortal liquid than ordinary gods. This fire spirit immortal liquid is of great use to you, but unfortunately, this is the mortal world after all, and there is too little fire spirit immortal liquid. With this little bit in front of you, it is impossible to improve your Vajra indestructible body. I guess you can try to integrate it into your eyes, and then assist with the forging method of the fire absolute fairyland. Maybe it can make your fire eyes and golden pupils reach a new level." Such a wonderful thing. After hearing Ming Long say this, Wu Yu really found that he was very lucky. It's a pity that the number is too small, but if it can make the fire eyes and golden pupils improve, it's worth it. So Wu Yu chased after it with all his heart. During the chase, he was also thinking about how he could trap this fire spirit immortal liquid. It should be possible to use the clone of Beiming Emperor K. After all, this hot thing and cold thing are in conflict with each other, and Beiming Emperor K is a high-level spiritual weapon, so it should not be destroyed by this fire spirit immortal liquid. Then, I will quickly use up this fire spirit immortal liquid. Wu Yu already had a plan in mind. This fire spirit immortal liquid was like it had a mind, very good at escaping and struggling constantly. It was really not easy to control it. Wu Yu missed several times, making him laugh and cry. Suddenly, Wu Yu and the fire spirit immortal liquid both broke into a magic circle. No pop-up novels, Yunlai Pavilion, where novels are updated quickly, with few GGS, complete chapters, and anti-theft protection. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 854. I was so absorbed in chasing the fire spirit immortal liquid that I didn't expect to suddenly break into the trap array set by the Ghost Flame clan. The Ghost Flame clan has basically set up a large number of arrays under the entire lava hell, specifically to deal with the Yanhuan clan who have penetrated deep into this place. This is also the reason why the Yanhuan clan dare not come here. Sometimes the Ghost Flame clan's own people mistakenly fall into these traps. In fact, the people who set up the array may not let them out. After all, they are ghost cultivators. The strength of ghost cultivators basically rises by stepping on the corpses of others. Their Taoist tools and arrays all need flesh and blood, and Yuan Shen to feed and sacrifice. Wu Yu had also mistakenly entered many times before, so he didn't care at first. The fire spirit immortal liquid automatically avoided several arrays before, but it didn't avoid it this time. It shows that the person who set up the array is still capable. Now that the fire spirit immortal liquid is trapped here, I can't escape directly. I can only control the fire spirit immortal liquid first before I can leave. This was the thought that flashed through Wu Yu's mind when he entered the array. Therefore, while guarding and observing the magic circle, he also quickly chased the fire spirit immortal liquid. It was also trapped in this magic circle. As long as Wu Yu was not restricted, it should be easier to catch the fire spirit immortal liquid. He now entered a dark place. The surrounding magma disappeared, replaced by a dark world. There was no light at all. The darkness swallowed everything. There was no sound at all, and it was dead silent. Such a gloomy magic circle, at first glance, belonged to ghost cultivators. Because the fire spirit immortal liquid entered this place, even the darkness and dead silence were immediately illuminated. This closed world also began to heat up and became extremely hot. In this way, it can be seen that the magic circle has a tendency to gradually collapse. The fire spirit immortal liquid seems to hate such a place. After entering, it rushed and impacted the border of the magic circle. Under its fierce impact, the fiery red fire completely burned the night. With a tearing sound, the whole world was broken and cracked. The magic circle was destroyed. Wu Yu just thought so, but he didn't expect that after the dark world collapsed, the outside was still a dark world, and they did not return to the lava hell. They were still engulfed in the darkness. It seems that the dark world created by this magic circle has more than one layer. Fire spirit immortal liquid, little darling, this time I specially arranged the 99 Dark Knight prison array to capture you. I don't believe that you can escape from my palm, hee hee. Wu Yu just caught up with fire spirit immortal liquid. Suddenly, a clear and moving female voice appeared in this dark world. The girl's voice was very pleasant, crisp, and soft, and very young and lively. When this voice appeared, under the illumination of the fire spirit fairy liquid flame, a girl appeared in front of Wu Yu. He had seen many ugly ghost cultivators these days, and the appearance of this girl made Wu Yu's eyes light up. The girl was not tall, with a rare black shoulder-length hair. Her big, bright eyes moved cleverly. The black color was tinged with red, making her look very cute and playful. Unlike the other members of the Ghost Flame clan, whose skin was more fiery red, her skin was very white, as if she had grown up in the snow. Inside her pink lips, there was a pair of tiger teeth, which made the girl more playful and wild. Her playful and proud look reminded Wu Yu of a cat. The girl was like a noble and lively black cat, a little lazy. When alert, her eyes were particularly bright. She was obviously a member of the Ghost Flame clan, but unlike the other members of the Ghost Flame clan, she did not have any corpses, evil spirits, yin spirits, or bloody smells. Even on her slightly plump chest, there was a black skull necklace hanging, but that necklace was also very pure. She can be considered a ghost cultivator, but the purple palace energy on her body is dark and pure, a bit like a clear night sky with stars. Although it is dark, it is not annoying. Wu Yu knows that this can only mean that this girl has been practicing a different way of ghost cultivation since she was a child. Her way of ghost cultivation is pure and natural, and has long been eliminated by other ghost cultivators who are eager for quick success and instant benefits. Because it is very slow, if you are not an absolute genius, you dare not try it. But it is also said that such a pure and harmless way of ghost cultivation is the real way to approach ghosts and gods. Since ancient times, it is said that there are many people who can achieve ghosts and gods, and they all practice this kind of road. Most ghost cultivators are in the three disasters and are directly punished by heaven and earth because they have lost their conscience. Because of this, and it is the first time I have seen it in my life, Wu Yu is a little surprised and a little curious about this person. What status does such a woman have in the Ghost Flame clan? Seeing that she is not old, her strength is not low, and her realm is the 10th level of the Yuanshen realm, she should be a top figure. In addition to the ghost cultivator's pure and natural appearance, cute and pretty, and the arrogance in her eyes that attracted people, Wu Yu also saw that there was really a cat in her arms. Unlike the woman, this cat was a pure white cat with more luxuriant hair and a pair of aqua blue eyes. It was held in the woman's arms, and at this time it also raised its head, looking at Wu Yu proudly and nobly, with a bit of disdain, which was somewhat similar to the expression of its master. The pretty girl with short black hair, holding a lazy white cat, saw Wu Yu at this time, and the girl pouted and said, "What kind of blind thing are you? You broke into my magic circle to snatch the fire spirit immortal liquid from me? Do you know who this ant is? Look carefully. She didn't even recognize that Wu Yu was from the Yanhuang tribe. She could only say that her eyesight was not very good. Wu Yu looked like a Taoist cultivator at first glance, which was very different from a ghost cultivator. This chapter is not finished yet. Please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. Fortunately, after asking, she finally saw clearly. The cat in her arms also meowed, holding its head high and looking at Wu Yu with a disdainful expression. This cat is a god of all things, not a demon. Ming Long's eyes were sharp and he could see clearly at once. All gods. Wu Yu didn't look carefully at first, but now he glanced at it with his fiery eyes. Sure enough, it was indeed a god, and he still couldn't tell what kind of gods it was. The girl didn't care about the destruction and howling fire spirit liquid everywhere, but stroked the head of the big white cat in her arms, looked at Wu Yu in surprise, and then said to the white cat as if talking to herself, lazy, this doesn't seem to be the Giyan tribe. Could it be the big bad guys outside? Why did the big bad guys come to us? Didn't my father say that there can't be big bad guys here? The white cat named Lalun meowed, with a cold and arrogant attitude, as if to say that although he was the big bad guy, she said, there was no threat, so she didn't need to worry. Hey, are you from the Yanhuang tribe? Why are you here in our territory? Are you looking for death? The girl rolled her big eyes and looked at Wu Yu maliciously. She circled around Wu Yu. It must be the first time she saw someone who was not a ghost Yan. I was still very curious about the existence of the clan, and even ignored the fire spirit immortal liquid for a while. Yes, then who are you? Wu Yu was also curious about her identity. According to his estimation, she should be a relatively important person in the Giyan clan. You haven't even heard of my name. You are really ignorant. I am the young master of Moyan Cave. My father is the holy master of Moyan Cave, the girl said proudly. What is the demon Yan Cave? I only know the blood Yan Cave. Wu Yu was also staring at her, and at the same time he was also staring at the fire spirit fairy liquid. The opponent's array had 99 layers, and the fire spirit fairy liquid could not escape for the time being. Go out. Bold, the girl glared at him. At the same time, the white cat lazy also glared at Wu Yu. This expression was very synchronized. I can only say, it's really cute. The blood Yan Cave is nothing. The demon Yan Cave is the core of the Giyan clan. You and I are the most noble person of the Giyan clan. You are such a bad guy. You don't usually hunt our people enough, but you dare to come here and see if I don't take you to Moyan Cave, arrest you in public parade, and then behead you in public. The black-haired woman looked a little excited and stared at Wu Yu. You say I'm a bad guy? The Giyan clan is a ghost cultivator, practicing a way that harms the heaven and justice. The Yanhuang clan has suppressed you here, and has done its best to not exterminate you. You have never seen anyone else in this lava hell. Do people use cruel cultivation methods to hurt their own people because of their impatience? The woman in front of me is like a blank sheet of paper. Maybe her father has not told her the truth. However, there is no doubt that her status is very high. What Wu Yu is thinking about now is how to get the fire spirit fairy liquid. If he can avoid provoking him, he might as well not provoke her. When Wu Yu said this, she was so angry that she couldn't speak. She glared at Wu Yu and said, "You dare to talk nonsense? Are you really not afraid that I, Yezixi, will kill you? I have killed you before, human." Meow, the white cat also meowed in agreement. Yezixi? As her name suggests, she is neurotic. Wu Yu felt that this girl was indeed very cute. Although she was a ghost cultivator, she was rare and pure. There were many interesting things in her. It's fun to tease her. When the other party was angry, Wu Yu said first, not to mention other useless things, I want to get this fire spirit fairy liquid, and you also want to get it. What do you think we should do? Do we each rely on our own abilities to snatch it? You really dare to ask for my fire spirit fairy liquid? I waited for a long time before I finally caught it. How could I give it to you? Why are you so shameless? As expected, you Yanhuang tribe are all ugly guys. Steal other people's things. Yazixi said extremely angrily. Meow, Lalan Mao also yelled at Wu Yu. This made it seem as if Wu Yu was really bullying her. I chased it into your magic circle, and you don't have control over it. At this time, you should each use your own ability to grab it. Wu Yu looked at the manic fire spirit fairy liquid everywhere and said. You're so mad at me, I'm going to scratch your face. Yazixi couldn't help it any longer, so she took out the spiritual weapon and was about to take action. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 855. The opponent is at the 10th level of the Yuanshen realm. In fact, many people are stuck at the 10th level of the Yuanshen realm. Because the three disasters asking Dao realm is too difficult. Wu Yu has recently defeated many opponents at the 10th level of the Yuanshen realm, so although Yazixi has a high status, it is not as high as the Emperor's son and daughter, so Wu Yu still has a relatively large confidence that he can defeat the opponent. In such an occasion, to obtain the Fire Spirit Immortal Liquid, you must first defeat the opponent, otherwise the opponent will keep pestering you. After a few words, Yazixi was already angry. She reached out and took out her upper spiritual instrument. It was a crisp bell, very bright, and the sound was very crisp. A light knock, that jingle, can penetrate the soul. After listening to it, you will feel dizzy. Seeing my enchanting wind chime, it's not too late for you to surrender and obey my orders. I don't think I will bully people, but once I do, I will definitely make you cry like a ghost, believe it or not. Yazixi widened her eyes and threatened Wu Yu. At this time, the white cat was still nestling in her arms, finding a comfortable position, threatening Wu Yu and enjoying it. Girl, you should just go straight up. Wu Yu really made her laugh and cry. When he spoke, bursts of black smoke came out of his cuffs and collar. The black smoke was right in front of Yazixi, and turned into Wu Yu holding beaming Emperor K, with white hair and bloodshot eyes. His body of swallowing the sky was a little more fierce. Now he raised his head and stared at Yazixi with bloodshot eyes, which scared Yazixi. What the hell is this? Yazixi took a few steps back, and trembled all over just now. Meow, the lazy big white cat was also scared and his hair exploded. To deal with your stuff, the devouring heaven body smiled coldly, then held the beaming Emperor K in his hand, and with a whoosh, he penetrated the darkness and rushed over. Originally, Wu Yu was going to use the beaming Emperor K to deal with the Fire Spirit Immortal Liquid. Now that the beaming Emperor K was going to deal with Yazixi, he could only think of a way with his original body. The best way was to directly hold down the Fire Spirit Immortal Liquid with his flesh and blood body, and then let the clone return, and then quickly jump out with the somersault cloud. After jumping out, use the beaming Emperor K to suppress the Fire Spirit Immortal Liquid. This method is dangerous because Wu Yu is holding down the Fire Spirit Immortal Liquid, but after all, this is something that is going to be integrated into the eyes. First, the flesh and blood body resists it, knowing the power of the Fire Spirit Immortal Liquid, and then he can be mentally prepared. Therefore, his original body and clone quickly separated, the devouring heaven body dealt with Yazixi, and the original body went after the Fire Spirit Immortal Liquid. After the Yuanshen was divided into two, it was not particularly difficult to do two things at the same time. As a result, Yazixi felt like she was being bullied. She became even more annoyed and attacked angrily. In front of Wu Yu's heaven-devouring body, she shook the soul-enchanting wind chime vigorously. For a moment, various magic arrays appeared on the bell. Every time it was shaken, the magic array would vibrate. Hundreds of thousands of magic arrays vibrated in succession. During the vibration, the sound of the bell was particularly different. Requiem for the Returning Souls. Yezixi shook the bell while dancing like an elf in the dark night. In this way, the power of the upper spiritual weapon was fully demonstrated. At this time, a crisp and beautiful song sounded in the magic circle. The song was very moving, which could make people calm down and concentrate, get rid of all the troubles in the mortal world, and let the soul fall into the deepest tranquility. With the requiem, it became more and more peaceful, and finally fell into a deep sleep, completely isolated from the world. It was not so easy to wake up at this time. What's more, when he was sleeping, anyone could come up and take his life at will. In this dark world, Wu Yu's swallowing body and the main body experienced the power of the requiem in an instant. Especially the main body, it would fall into a deep sleep quickly. The clone would not be a problem, but its attack power would be affected. In this sleeping requiem, it was quite difficult to raise the long sword to attack Yezixi. However, if he was suppressed by the other party so easily, he would not be Wu Yu. His original body was originally going to chase the fire spirit immortal liquid, and he had to take action at this time. He used a Taoist technique, and it was just right to explode at this time. Blood crying world technique. A sharp ape cry mixed into the requiem, and the two sounds confronted each other. Even if Wu Yu's blood crying world technique could not fight against the requiem, it could at least allow his heaven-devouring body to rush out of the sleeping vortex of the requiem. It only took a moment of wakefulness for the Northern Dark Emperor K in the hand of the heaven-devouring body to explode directly. Ding! Dark Sea Sword Ghost Rain. A sword pierced through, and the sword shadow surged. For a moment, the sword light burst out layer by layer, gathering into countless raindrops. In this dark world, it rained heavily, and the entire dark world was frozen by these raindrops. For a moment, the whole world quickly condensed into ice, and Yezixi had to resist the sword energy that came like a rainstorm. This terrible coldness made her, a child who grew up in the lava hell, extremely uncomfortable. She had to stop the requiem and use her Taoist magic to resist and dodge Wu Yu's attack from the Northern Dark Emperor. Her face became even uglier, and her little face turned red with anger. In the end, she used another Taoist weapon, a fiery red fan, to sweep across, and then used the burning fan to extinguish Wu Yu's rushing rain of sword ghosts from the dark sea. "My lord, I'm angry." "You idiot, I'm really angry." Unexpectedly, at this moment, she seemed to explode, her face flushed. She held the ecstasy wind chime in one hand and shook it when she was holding the fiery red fan. Of course no one was holding the white cat in her arms, but at this time, the white cat was still pressed against her chest and no one was holding it. Lalun Mao was very angry and yelled. And then actually bumped back into Yezixi's chest. What Wu Yu saw was that the lazy cat actually sank into her chest, as if it had merged with Yezixi, and completely disappeared. Wu Yu has never seen anything like this before. This is simply a fusion. Sure enough, Wu Yu saw something incredible next. That is, he could clearly see that Yezixi's short black hair turned into thick long white hair, exploding like a lion, and his eyes also changed. It has turned aqua blue, and the tiger teeth in its mouth have also lengthened. Its body is still getting bigger, more sensitive and stronger, especially its hands and feet, which have extended sharp claws. Such a strong figure is completely unimaginable. It turned out that she was paired with a lazy big white cat. Wu Yu was stunned. Most of the time, it was people seeing strange things in him. But now, he saw it in others. I remembered that this god of all things is called the Xuanhuan cat. It is said that the greatest ability is to be integrated into the human body, whether it is a ghost cultivator, a monk, or even a demon. Of course, they can choose a master and fuse with one person. After the fusion, even if they have no power of their own, they can inspire the master's power, just like a catalyst, making the master stronger, at least able to cross a realm. The rare gods of all things actually exist here? Such gods of all things only exist in historical records, and how can they be born? Minglong was very excited and talked a lot in a short period of time. Of course, everyone would be very excited when they saw the legendary things. Wan He Cat, Wu Yu took a look and found that it was indeed the case. After merging with this Wan He Cat, Yezixi's magic power has now become extremely powerful and has been promoted to a higher level. It is estimated that it has almost the same magic power as the three disasters Dao realm. It's so incredible. It's a pity that Wan He Cat is dominated by her. Even if she dies, Wan He Cat will not have any effect on others. That's a useless cat. Surprised, surprise, now he is facing an opponent who is equivalent to the three disasters Dao realm, which is beyond the range of Wu Yu's dealing with him. I didn't expect that Yezixi is so powerful. It's quite difficult to meet such an opponent. Bad luck. At this time, Yezixi had already completed the fusion. Looking at Wu Yu, she was already a bit fierce. She screamed and her speed suddenly became very fast. A bell in one hand and a fan in the other were both spiritual tools, especially that a fan depicts a world of lava, which is spitting fire. It seems that this spiritual weapon is related to the lava hell. In fact, Wu Yu was right. The name of this spiritual artifact was called Lava Hell Picture Scroll. The Raging Hell Demonic Dragon Array. Yezixi rushed towards him with terrifying speed. On his right hand, the fan swept wildly. For a moment, countless magic circles were operating. Under the operation of its enhanced magic power, the attack magic circle exploded, covering Wu Yu and Yan Tianzi. His body was swallowed up, and in the blink of an eye, countless hot magma washed away the black glaciers before Wu Yu. The magma gathered into a dragon, roared, exploded, and rushed towards Wu Yu's two bodies in this dark world. In a head-on confrontation, the other party is too rough now. Wu Yu thought that he would definitely suffer in a head-on confrontation. In this case, he could only outsmart him, so he let the sky-swallowing body quickly return to the floating life tower, and he himself used somersault clouds to hide directly before the overwhelming attack came. A somersaulting, he jumped out of here, outside the Dark Night magic circle, and returned to the magma world. This little girl is really amazing. Don't worry, Wan He Cat's fusion also has a certain level. After a few more times, she will be tired, Minglong said. Wu Yu thought that the attack was almost over, and immediately rushed in again. At this time, Yezixi was happy. Although she failed to catch Wu Yu, she felt that it was important to get the fire fairy liquid first. She didn't expect that Wu Yu actually there it is again. The madman's wedding photos were sent to WeChat. If you want to see it, just use the official account, Fengqing Yang. Pay attention to historical news. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 856. It didn't take long for Yezixi to jump out of the magic circle miraculously and come back in. At this time, Yezixi thought Wu Yu would not come in, as she had just separated from the Wan He Cat. It was probably because she was not very comfortable when she merged with the Wan He Cat. It was estimated that under normal circumstances, she would not choose to merge with the Wan He Cat. Wu Yu came in at the right time. He and the devouring heaven body appeared at the same time. After appearing, Wu Yu's prepared attack also broke out here. At this time, Yezixi was facing away from Wu Yu. She turned back suddenly, and the lazy cat in her arms also stared at Wu Yu with wide eyes, and his fur was blown up. The Great Desolate Finger Technique. The Heavenly Palace Dark Soul Saint Emperor Sword. The attack of the devouring heaven body was the main one, and the attack of Wu Yu's body was the auxiliary one. The power exploded at the same time. Among them, the Heavenly Palace Dark Soul Saint Emperor Sword was naturally extremely powerful. Wherever the long sword went, cold air was everywhere. A sword light carried a vast and huge amount of cold air like the dark sea, sweeping towards Yazixi. For a moment, the entire magic circle was shrouded in the coldness of Wu Yu's sword. The new Taoist technique was used for the first time. On his finger, a yellow dragon was wrapped around it. He poked out with one finger. Suddenly, a thick fog swept, merged into the sword light, and mixed in the sword energy of the North Sea. It was like a few roaring desolate beasts, hiding in the sword energy of the dark sea, rolling and roaring. Wherever they went, all living things were destroyed. Yazixi just turned around and encountered such an attack. She was shocked and could only quickly resist with the lava hell scroll in her hand. As the fiery red fan swept, the lava world descended, and the anger rolled, like a volcanic eruption, the surging magma rushed out, and Wu Yu's Tiank Nether Soul Saint Emperor sword, one cold and one hot, two oceans, collided together. At this time, under the roar, it was obvious that the Tiank Nether Soul Saint Emperor sword was more powerful. After all, Wu Yu had been prepared and surpassed the opponent's haste. Under the engulfment of the Nether Sea Sword Chi, coupled with Wu Yu's Great Dao Desolate Finger technique, Yazixi had to retreat, and also mobilized the power of the magic circle to protect herself. In the end, she almost smashed her own magic circle, and barely blocked Wu Yu's attack. "You dare to come back, I will beat you up." Yazixi was so angry that her face flushed and trembled. She slapped the lazy cat's head, and the Wanhe cat also cried out unhappily, and the two began to merge again. At this time, before the heaven-devouring body merged, it held a sword and killed Wu Yu's body, delaying time. At the same time, Wu Yu's body had already appeared in front of the fire spirit immortal liquid. For this moment, Wu Yu was fully prepared. He stretched out his hands and grabbed the fire spirit immortal liquid with both hands. To be honest, other people would think it was crazy. The fire spirit immortal liquid was so hot that standing next to it would be burned to charcoal. Wu Yu actually used both hands to catch it. Isn't he afraid that his hands will be burned to ashes? Yazixi was merging with the Wanhe cat and was being chased by the heaven-devouring body. She was also slightly distracted to see what was happening here. When she saw Wu Yu's choice, she couldn't help laughing and said, "This idiot is about to scream." He actually caught it with his hands. The next moment, Wu Yu held the fire spirit immortal liquid with both hands. There was not much fire spirit immortal liquid itself, just like two wide fish. When Wu Yu clasped his fingers tightly, he could barely seal it in his palm. Zizi. For a moment, his hands were red, like red-hot iron, and thick black smoke came out. This feeling was like when he was still a mortal, holding a hot iron ball with both hands. That feeling was indeed horribly painful, and it could even be described as worse than death. But at least he would not be burned directly into charcoal or ash, and he could still control the fire spirit immortal liquid. In fact, Wu Yu thought that he would have to integrate this into his eyes next. If his hands couldn't bear it, how could his eyes bear it? So, no matter what, no matter how painful it was, he couldn't let go at this time. He had an extremely strong pursuit and an unprecedented sense of crisis. He must not let go. Life and death were all controlled by himself. At this moment, he really held on. To cultivate the Tao, talent is indispensable, but willpower is even more important. A true hero must have extraordinary willpower. I escape death and obtain the way to immortality. If I don't become an immortal, it's the same as dying in Wudu. What's the difference? Luo Bin, Nangong Wei, becoming an immortal, all kinds of thoughts made him eager to continue to become stronger. Caught. It can't be delayed any longer. After forcing Yazixi to retreat, the body of the swallowing sky immediately returned to Wu Yu's side. Wu Yu was waiting for this moment. He directly used the somersault cloud and jumped away from here, rushing out of the encirclement of Yazixi. At this time, Yezixi had just completed the fusion with the Xuanhuan and was about to kill him, but she was just a little short, so Wu Yu escaped under her nose. This dark world became empty. Fire spirit elixir, gone. Yezixi's nose felt sore and she was about to cry. She had been guarding for a long time. Humph, in this lava hell, do you think you can escape from my grasp with so many tricks? Lan Lan, take me to find him. Meow. The Xuanhuan came out of her body and nestled in her arms again. His angry face was quite cute. With one jump of the second level of the somersault cloud, he could be far away from that guy. However, Wu Yu was still worried. He drove the somersault cloud and went far away, looking for a relatively hidden place. This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. In addition, his main body cooperated with the devouring heaven body. You know, Wu Yu normally doesn't want to expose the floating life tower, but now there is no way. He lets the devouring heaven body hold the floating life tower. When he is far enough away from Yezixi, he first puts away the somersault cloud and lets the devouring heaven body carry the floating life tower in a low-key manner. Then he takes the fire spirit immortal liquid in his hand and goes directly into the floating life tower. The fire spirit immortal liquid is just a treasure in the final analysis. Even if it is very irritable now, the floating life tower will not reject it, so Wu Yu will bring it into the floating life tower. Naturally, there is no problem. Just after entering, Wu Yu released it. The space inside the floating life tower is not large. The fire spirit immortal liquid collides everywhere here, but it can never escape. This is also because Wu Yu relied on the magic of the floating life tower. Ordinary spiritual instruments, even if they have space inside like the floating life tower, cannot withstand the impact of the fire spirit immortal liquid and will probably be destroyed directly. For example, the ordinary Sumuru bag cannot cover the fire spirit immortal liquid at all. Now that the fire spirit immortal liquid cannot escape, Wu Yu is a little relieved. Of course, he is also a little depressed. After releasing the fire spirit immortal liquid, he looked at his hands again. These hands have been completely charred and burned into charcoal. Although the recovery ability of the Dragon King Buddha's indestructible body is very strong and can be restored to normal, at least now, his original strength has been greatly reduced. Now new flesh and blood are growing again in the charred hands. Outside, the devouring heaven body took the floating life tower and hid in the direction where there was no one, looking around vigilantly. The devouring heaven body is still a little lacking in escape and agility, so Wu Yu must use the fire spirit immortal liquid as soon as possible and then go out to replace the devouring heaven body. Try it now. If the fire eyes and golden pupils can be improved, it will be more useful for you to get the Wujitianzu. Now your body has reached its limit. No matter how long it takes, it will be dangerous to try this fire spirit immortal liquid, Ming Long said. So, it is not that Wu Yu will get better after he gets out of this lava hell. Okay, Wu Yu nodded. He glanced at the fire spirit immortal liquid. At this time, the fire spirit immortal liquid was still colliding everywhere. Unfortunately, no matter how hard the inside of the fusion tower was, it could not cause any damage at all. He first recalled the magic formula and realm of the fire absolute fairyland in the fire eyes and golden pupils, as well as the research on the fire eyes and golden pupils during this period. In fact, he already has some confidence and experience, but the training and improvement of the magical power sometimes requires the catalysis and promotion of external objects, especially the fire eyes and golden pupils, which forge the eyes. Although the fire spirit immortal liquid is an extremely rough treasure, it is also the only opportunity Wu Yu can encounter in the Yama world. If I miss this opportunity, I don't know when I can find an opportunity to improve my fire eyes and golden pupils. So, let's do it in one go. Wu Yu looked at the fire spirit immortal liquid whistling around and made a decision. After confirming the safety of the devouring heaven body outside, Wu Yu started directly. In this narrow place, it was not difficult to catch the fire spirit immortal liquid again. He grabbed the fire spirit immortal liquid. The first step was to split the fire spirit immortal liquid into two halves. At this time, the North Ming Emperor K was right here with Wu Yu. Wu Yu gritted his teeth and held down the burning, hot fire spirit immortal liquid, swinging his sword and slashing it. The North Ming Emperor K was quite powerful for the fire spirit immortal liquid. This extreme coldness made the fire spirit immortal liquid a little afraid. With one slash, it was indeed split into two halves. Of course, it was also very easy for the fire spirit immortal liquid to merge again. After all, it was a liquid. Wu Yu held half of the fire spirit immortal liquid in one hand, and with the other hand, he also grabbed the other half that escaped after being cut off. At this time, the two balls of fire spirit immortal liquid were like crazy, colliding and burning Wu Yu's palm with their burning bodies. The fire eyes and golden pupils should also have 10 levels. I wonder what the Monkey King used to cultivate the fire eyes and golden pupils to the highest level. Does it also need external objects to calcine? It seems that external resources are also very important for cultivation, but being able to withstand the energy of these external resources is also a challenge. The Monkey King succeeded, and I want to succeed too. Wu Yu took a deep breath. His palm was burned black again, and black smoke came out, which looked terrible. At this time, Wu Yu was not afraid. He recalled the various things in the fire absolute fairyland, and then pressed the two balls of fire spirit immortal liquid into his eyes. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 857. The moment the fire spirit fairy liquid entered the eyes, the feeling could only be described as horrific. The burning was as if the eyes were directly incinerated. Wu Yu almost wanted to dig out everything inside. The fire spirit immortal liquid was indeed very irritable, as if it was seeking revenge against Wu Yu. It's really not easy to cultivate the Tao, especially this kind of Tao. You can't do this? Are you going to give up? Do you want to become an immortal? I think you can only become a fool. At this critical moment, Ming Long still said such exciting words. Writing this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. Wu Yu was angry. How could he let this little girl look down upon him? He gritted his teeth and persisted. At this moment, his whole body was burning red, and his eyes were burning like two suns, and there were no eyeballs at all. Whoops! And the flames were extremely raging. As long as you survive this moment, you'll be fine. Wu Yu hypnotized himself while working hard to build the fire wonderland. Fire eyes and golden eyes, the fire reaches the fairyland. This is the realm of fairyland. Of course, the indescribable pain in his eyes still existed, painful and burning. This was all due to the way Wu Yu had cultivated. At this time, he couldn't see anything. It was as if there were only raging flames in the world. It was an endless sea of fire, the golden color spread, raging and burning, and the whole world was swallowed up by the sea of fire. Roar! Incomparably angry sounds echoed in the raging sea of fire. At that moment, Wu Yu saw a giant that was as tall as the sky. His feet were in the sea of fire, and his head was in the distant sky. Of course, this person does not seem to be a human being, but the golden immortal ape, the Monkey King. He is holding a huge stick, standing on the sky, his eyes burning like fire. Those are the two real scorching suns, shining high in the sky. Under the sky, wherever you can see with your eyes, between heaven and earth, there are endless flames. That will to dominate the world, that will to look down on the common people, that fighting spirit to rebel against the heavens, that unbridled and unrestrained fighting spirit, at this moment, sweeping through the world from his eyes. If the ways of heaven and earth are unkind, unjust, and corrupt, then I will break them and rebuild them. What do you think? For a moment, the two scorching suns shone on Wu Yu's body. Wu Yu's whole body was burned with fire, and his soul and spirit seemed to have transcended another realm. Wu Yu has never particularly understood what kind of existence the Monkey King is. He is always sober and vague, but judging from the will that the other party has conveyed to him several times, he seems to be a rebellious person. It should be said that he is the rebellious immortal. But that's exactly what it is. His will and fighting spirit can be said to penetrate the sky. That is the most terrifying will in the world. There is no one in heaven and earth who can compare with it. But all this will is between these eyes, within these fiery golden eyes. Sometimes, Wu Yu is eager to get close to him and achieve his realm, but most of the time, he is extremely far away. Wu Yu knows very well that he is still far from reaching his realm. However, this indomitable giant is always in his heart. Wu Yu cultivates Taoism and becomes an immortal. His greatest belief in Tao comes from the Monkey King. This is one of the reasons why his willpower is so strong. First, all his miracles are simply pursuing the will of the Monkey King. When he realized his fighting spirit again, Wu Yu's mind was shaken, and his Tao realm continued to grow. The most important thing was that he seemed to have forgotten the huge pain caused by the fire spirit fairy liquid, but was immersed in the process of building the fire fairy realm. In the spiritual world, Wu Yu, the road to immortality is extremely long. I am willing to wait for you, but you must not let me down. The so-called Taoist couples must advance and retreat together. I do not want to go alone and leave you behind. If that is the case, it's okay to be alone. Suddenly, in the endless sea of fire, a trace of coldness appeared. It was a piece of icy sea water. In the clear sea, there was a beautiful white dragon swimming in the sea water. Wu Yu spoke. I understand. In fact, Wu Yu knew that this was not the real her, but the voice in Wu Yu's heart, which was his desire. He liked Luo Bin very much. This was a kind of admiration, but he did not allow himself to. He is not worthy of her. As a man, he just wants to be stronger than Luo Bin. This was even more the reason why he felt he couldn't retreat. You have to pay me back everything you owe me, and you have to pay me back my life, Wu Yu, I still hate you. Call. A phoenix soared in the sea of fire. She was bathed in 9-color flames and crossed the sky. A pair of cold eyes stared at Wu Yu. Those complicated eyes made Wu Yu tremble. I know. He carries so much on his body, maybe he values emotions more than others. You don't need to be too stressed. When I finish my life, I don't want eternal life. 100 or 200 years is enough. Everything will die. One more of me is nothing. Someone touched his face, and the fingers were particularly soft. Wu Yu finally saw something clearly. It turned out to be Wu Yu. She looked at Wu Yu tenderly with a smile on her face. A smile at the corner of her mouth gave Wu Yu a feeling that penetrated his whole body. Of warmth. No, I promised you that I will ascend to immortality and let you see what heaven is and what immortality is. Wu Yu couldn't help but speak out. When he roared, Wu Yu's smile was broken, and the sea of fire was also shattered. It turned out that everything was fake, and it was all his own inner thoughts. Even the upright Qi Tianda Shendu was false, but Wu Yu was still shocked. This is the deepest voice in my heart, I can't go against myself. This chapter is not over, please click on the next page to continue reading. This realization brought him great progress in the Tao realm. The so-called Tao progress, for Wu Yu, was actually the process of getting to know himself step by step. His will became stronger and stronger, and his goals became clearer and clearer. Be clearer about what you want. The Tao is also oneself. Tao is also a mysterious thing. It is the mist in the sea of consciousness. It is gradually integrated into the soul, and when it meets the soul, a wonderful reaction occurs, which enhances the realm of his soul. Of course, in this invisible state, he couldn't help but use the maximum brilliance of the fire spirit fairy liquid, and survived the first wave, letting the fire spirit fairy liquid become exhausted and melt into the fire wonderland he had built. Of course, it will still take a certain amount of time to successfully achieve the fire wonderland. He did not expect such a sudden mental change. This change and epiphany were too crucial for him. He clearly knew what he wanted, what he pursued, and what he wanted to protect. For Nangongwei, he also knew what he wanted to make up for. De Dao, Long, Fenghuang, Wu Yu, even Ming Long, Princess Yuki, Wu Yu had promised them all. The road has no boundaries and my heart is fearless. All in all, it's these 8 words. His heart gradually calmed down, and the fire immortal realm was also gradually succeeding. Under the nourishment and destruction of the fire spirit immortal liquid, his fiery eyes rushed to a new realm. Sometimes, the eyes are the windows of the will. Wu Yu was in while cultivating his piercing eyes, the most important thing is to forge his will. Now, his fiery eyes and golden eyes have reached a new level, and his will become stronger. Even this time of creation gave him the capital to hit the 3rd level of the Yuanshen realm. In fact, his Yuanshen had grown to the 10th level of the Yuanshen realm. He only had to wait for the Zifu Yuanli to increase, and at this time, even the body of swallowing the sky can be improved to a certain extent. As long as it does not exceed the realm of the soul, it is within Wu Yu's control. This time, let me see where you are going to escape. Just when everything was going well, Wu Yu heard a discordant sound. Of course, it was not inside the fusion tower, but outside the fusion tower. His sky-swallowing body was hiding in a very low-key place. Guarding the fusion tower, I never expected to hear Yezixi's voice. When I looked up, the woman was appearing in front of the sky-swallowing body, and the key was that she had already merged with the lazy cat. He has achieved the strongest fighting state, holding the enchanting wind chime in one hand and the lava hell picture scroll in the other, obviously trying to defeat Wu Yu. She came at the right time. Now the sky-swallowing body is outside and his speed is not as fast as hers. Wu Yu is at the critical moment of building the fire wonderland and cannot get out. Once she attacks violently at this time, it is really dangerous. Wu Yu can only think of ways to delay time. His sky-swallowing body with white hair and blood eyes is facing Yezixi. While Wu Yu continues to build the fire wonderland, while saying, "You came too late," the fire spirit fairy liquid ran away, and I couldn't control it. Yezixi sneered and said, "Huh, I don't believe it. You must have hidden it. You are so scheming and I don't believe you. Stop talking nonsense. I'm going to beat you until you kneel down and beg for mercy. I'll give you the fire spirit fairy liquid myself, send it out, and then kowtow to admit your mistake." She wasn't just threatening, she was truly ready to fight. Wu Yu looked at her, suddenly let out a sigh, and said, "I suddenly realized that you look a bit like my sister, but not as good looking as my sister. It's strange, you are not from the same place, and you are not from the same clan. How can they look so similar? What are you talking about? Impossible, you are so ugly, how can your sister be prettier than me? Do you have a portrait to prove it?" As expected, this girl has a low IQ, so Wu Yu got involved. Of course, she didn't know that Wu Yu is trying to delay time. "There is no portrait, but I can draw one on the spot." He took out a pen and paper and used Taoist skills to quickly draw one. In fact, it was based on Yezixi's appearance, and then he changed his hairstyle and clothes. His temperament changed slightly, and he handed it to Yezixi. While giving it back, he said, "This is really strange. Could it be that you are my long-lost sister? After all, the skin of the Giyan tribe here is bright red, but you are not." Wow, after looking at the portrait, Yezixi looked at it in surprise and said, "It's really weird, he really looks like me. There are people as beautiful as me in the world." She looked straight at Wu Yu with a look of disbelief on her face. This girl is so stupid, Wu Yu feels that it is not difficult to delay time in front of her. Heaven swallowing record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 858. Yazixi was looking at the portrait in amazement. Wu Yu was still saying, I have a very good relationship with my sister. Next time I come here, maybe I can bring her to see you and let you see for yourself whether you look like her or not. In fact, in terms of cultivation, Yazixi is definitely younger than him. She just looks young and lively. Suddenly, Yazixi stared at Wu Yu, meowed 3 times, and said angrily, Lan Lan, you are lying to me. The one you drew is me. Wu Yu was speechless. It turned out that Wan He Cat was quite smart, at least smarter than Yazixi. Wu Yu argued, how is that possible? Why would I say that? It's not good for me. Yazixi waited for a while, looked at Wu Yu even more angrily, and said, she said you were stalling for time, you stinky guy, you are mocking me, and you dare to stall for time. I won't forgive you. She is also impatient, she does what she says and does it immediately. With her current strength, it is really troublesome for Wu Yu to use the body of the devouring heaven to deal with her. However, at this time, the main body is still at a critical moment, and he can't escape from the opponent, so he can only bite the bullet. He pulled the beaming Emperor K out of the fusion tower. Yazixi, I have no grudge against you, there is no need to do this. Give me back my fire spirit immortal liquid. The fire spirit immortal liquid is not yours. Whoever grabs it in this lava hell will own it. Then I will take it back from you, and it will be mine. Aren't you very good at escaping? Why don't you run away this time and delay time? I think it must be another you who is using the fire spirit immortal liquid. I will make you spit it out immediately. I didn't expect that she would be so clear in her thinking at this moment. Not only was she clear, but she also acted very quickly, not giving Wu Yu a chance to breathe. Raging Hell Demon Dragon Formation. She took the Lava Hell Scroll as the first step, and when her nimble body rushed over, she twisted her waist and swung it, and the fiery red fan vibrated and swept. Suddenly, the lava hell itself was hot enough. In this small area, more and hotter lava emerged. The lava condensed and swallowed, and suddenly gathered into a huge flaming dragon, bearing its fangs and claws, overwhelming the sky, and coming towards Wu Yu. Boom boom boom. In that scene, it looked like she was no longer a cat, but a tiger. In fact, she was not yet in the 3 disasters asking Deo realm, so she was a little worse than the ghost array guest. The difference should be the uniqueness of the asking Deo realm and the transcendence of the life level. Therefore, it is a little easier to deal with her than to deal with the ghost array guest. The devouring heaven body can still resist a little bit. Since it was unavoidable, Wu Yu quickly entered the state of fighting. Seeing the terrifying flame dragon biting at him, he immediately showed his changes, changing from a human form, spinning in an instant, turning into thick fog, and then the thick fog condensed and spun, and in the blink of an eye it became a huge vortex. The pitch-black vortex expanded in this lava hell and grew rapidly. When the angry hell dragon array rushed over, the vortex was about to be bigger than the dragon, and it swallowed it directly. In the blink of an eye, the entire angry hell dragon array was swallowed by Wu Yu's swallowing body. Of course, the difficulty this time was not as difficult as the last time he dealt with the ghost array guest. With the improvement of the Wan He Cat, Yazixi really became very scary. Wu Yu's swallowing body, which had the ability to control the return talent, was once again pushed to the limit. For a while, the vortex burned a lot of flames, and the whole thing turned red, spinning wildly in this magma. Roar! In the vortex, the dragon roared, shaking the sky and the earth, and the world was shaken. Wu Yu's way of dealing with things was a little beyond Yazixi's expectations. She didn't expect this to happen, and was slightly stunned. At this moment, the vortex suddenly stopped rotating, and then reversed, faster and faster. During this reverse process, the flames burning on the vortex turned black again, and the entire vortex was filled with vast cold air. Buzz. At this moment, a pitch-black flame dragon rushed out of the vortex, which was even stronger than before, and the entire magic array structure was still intact. The dragon's eyes were cruel, and the target of the attack was actually Yezixi. How is it possible? Yezixi was shocked, her face full of disbelief. How did his own attack turn to attack himself? What kind of method is Wu Yu using? Huh. After spitting out the dragon, the body of the devouring heaven quickly returned to human form, and the beaming Emperor K also returned to his hand. Facing Yezixi, Wu Yu had to do his best to gain time and seize the opportunity to pursue the victory. 10,000 Dragons Chaos Devouring Heaven Formation. With the returned Angry Hell Dragon formation as the leader, Wu Yu had plenty of time to cast the 10,000 Dragons Chaos Devouring Heaven formation. The beaming Emperor's palace turned into a long and hard whip, with a large number of magic arrays activated. For a time, the dragon roared and shook the sky. Under its huge power, the long whip danced rapidly, the whip shadow swept, and the 10,000 dragons galloped. The sky-devouring beast merged into the 10,000 dragons, and the monstrous cold air was released. Under the control of Wu Yu's domain, the 10,000 dragons carrying the monstrous cold rushed towards Yezixi from all directions. On the day of the enthronement ceremony, Wu Yu used this sky-devouring body to defeat the magic array of the two emperors, and it reappeared again. And this time, there was also the scorching hell dragon in the lead, followed by the 10,000 dragons devouring Yin Han. This lava hell is the hottest place, and this biting cold can be said to be extremely obvious here. This is the huge problem Wu Yu created for Yezixi. In fact, it is also the ultimate means of the devouring heaven body. Under his transformation, the tens of thousands of dragons seemed to have swallowed the heaven beasts into the divine body, accompanying them, and their devouring power became more powerful. The body of Yezixi, connected to her body, began to transform into a dead cold. This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. How can he be so powerful? Yezixi didn't believe it anymore, and she had to fight back at this time. She first shook the soul-bewitching wind chime and played the requiem of the returning soul again. The requiem was long-lasting and penetrated the heart. It still had a certain effect on the devouring heaven body. Moreover, this time there was no Wu Yu's blood-weeping world technique, and the impact caused was to reduce the power of the 10,000 dragons chaos devouring heaven formation. The body of the devouring heaven was in a certain state of chaos, and the 10,000 dragons chaos devouring heaven formation was indeed unable to unleash its top power. However, even so, Yezixi had to block Wu Yu's current double attack to resolve the crisis at this time. Of course, if she could resolve it, Wu Yu would be in greater trouble now. After all, his strongest means had already been used. A miniature version of the Skyfire world. Sure enough, the opponent was quite extraordinary. At this moment, the lava hell scroll changed again in his hand. This time, it turned from a fan into a scroll. The scroll was very long. After unfolding, it formed a circle and surrounded Yezixi. Perhaps this was the true appearance of the scroll, not a fan. After forming a circle, the scroll continued to extend, winding several times in a row, and turned into a sphere, protecting Yezixi. The scroll was painted with blazing fire, extremely hot. You can see that there are a lot of magic arrays painted on the scroll. The magic arrays are like parts of a machine, precise and complex. At this time, they are running, one driving another, and the vast power is running on these magic arrays. For a while, the scroll is changing into a sphere. This sphere is like the sun, surrounding Yezixi, and then expanding rapidly. This is the epitome of the Skyfire world. The fireball grew rapidly, and the heat erupted, which was even more amazing. In a very short time, it was able to fight against the Hell Dragon and Wu Yu's 10,000 dragons formation. Boom boom boom. The fireball continued to grow, and it became a huge burning star. At this time, the Hell Dragon collided with it, making a roaring collision. At this time, the fireball spun violently, and the flames soared into the sky. In the confrontation with the angry Hell Dragon formation, it even smashed the opponent to pieces. The rage of the dragon was also assimilated by the huge fireball. So far, Yezixi has completely resolved Wu Yu's return attack. Next, it is the confrontation between this miniature of the Skyfire world and the 10,000 dragons chaos devouring heaven formation. The tens of thousands of cold dragons, from all directions, hit this huge fireball. This is a duel between cold and heat. The heat wants to heat up the cold, and the cold wants to devour the heat. It is a fight between two tigers. For a while, when countless dragons collided with the fireball, a sizzling sound was made, and a large amount of white smoke came out. When the dragon hit it and was burned into steam, the brightness of the fireball would dim a bit, and the heat would also decrease a bit. Boom boom boom. Tens of thousands of dragons collided with each other in a short time. Originally, these were magic arrays that could directly freeze the opponent, but this time they failed. Tens of thousands of dragons were evaporated into water mist, and the 10,000 dragons chaos devouring heaven array was also directly extinguished. Of course, the attack launched in a hurry still failed to achieve the digestion that Yezixi wanted. After the 10,000 dragons chaos devouring heaven array disappeared, her Skyfire world miniature also collapsed directly and could not continue to attack Wu Yu. The lava hell scroll changed into a red fan and returned to her hand again. The previous confrontation was barely half a catty and ate two. Seeing Yezixi's majestic appearance at this time, Wu Yu knew that although he didn't know how much ability the other party had, he must have hidden more things than himself. So strictly speaking, the current devouring heaven body is not her opponent. You are really powerful, but I guess now, you have run out of tricks. Yezixi stared at him and stepped forward again. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 859. Wu Yu was really as she said. In the sea of fire, his white hair was flying, his bloodshot eyes were flashing with cold light, staring at Yezixi, and said, I have already used the fire spirit immortal liquid, and it is useless for you to defeat me now. Yezixi pouted and said, I don't believe you, big liar, you just came to lie to me, your sister doesn't look like me. She thought Wu Yu had a sister. She was moving forward, and Wu Yu was retreating. I'll give you 3 breaths of time. If you don't hand it over, I'll really beat you, Yezixi threatened. This girl really doesn't look like a ghost. She is too simple. At this time, she didn't take action directly, but wanted Wu Yu to take the initiative. It seems that her elders dote on her, otherwise they would not have no experience at all. Can you give me 10 breaths of time? I want to think about it carefully. Wu Yu looked at her very sincerely. Well, I'm going to start counting. Yezixi looked at him warily, fearing that he would suddenly run away, and then began to count from 1 to 10, while Wu Yu lowered his head, as if thinking. When Yezixi finished counting 10, he laughed in front of her. What are you laughing at? Yezixi was puzzled. She looked up and asked, have you made a decision? I don't have time to play with you here. I'm laughing at your innocence and cuteness, Wu Yu said. That's natural. But I'm asking you a question, where's the fire spirit elixir? Yezixi said angrily. She had a hunch that Wu Yu was going to play tricks on her again. As expected, Wu Yu said, indeed, I have used it. I need this fire spirit immortal liquid to practice a pupil technique. Now I have succeeded. Do you want to try its power? How ridiculous. You don't even know how to beg for mercy. Yezixi originally thought that he was quite capable and not so annoying. Now she found that he was still annoying, so she didn't want to give Wu Yu another chance, so she started again. However, what she never expected was that suddenly, in front of the white-haired and blood-red-eyed Wu Yu, a golden ape suddenly appeared. The ape was really fierce and domineering. What surprised Yezixi the most was that at this time, his eyes were like two suns embedded in them, with a very hot temperature and the breath of fire spirit immortal liquid. She understood that this was another body of Wu Yu. Although she didn't see the appearance of the golden ape last time, it gave her the same feeling, but it was more violent and violent. The agile figure, the strong and rough muscles, the sharp teeth and claws, the golden burning hair, and the heavy breath are all visual impacts. Of course, the most obvious is still the pair of eyes, hot, burning, explosive. Like two burning suns, rolling continuously, rolling, the heat waves rolled, and made a roaring sound. Yezixi realized that Wu Yu did not lie to her just now. He did use the fire spirit immortal liquid to make this pupil technique. That's right, Wu Yu succeeded. The heaven-devouring body successfully delayed time and persisted until the moment of his success. It was quite thrilling to be able to complete it at this time. But at this time, Wu Yu desperately needed the first release and explosion. Since Yezixi came to the door and had no intention of stopping, before she attacked, Wu Yu's body appeared, of course, to explode this fire absolute wonderland. If he didn't use it for the first time, his eyes might also explode. You better be careful. Although he was using it, the devouring heaven body still reminded Yezixi. Your tricks can't scare me, Yezixi snorted coldly. He had already made a direction, but he was just a little slower than Wu Yu. At this moment, Wu Yu, who had been suppressing it for a long time, released the fire absolute wonderland in his eyes. The fifth level of the fire eyes and golden pupils broke out at this moment. Buzz buzz buzz. The world was moved by Wu Yu. The two eyes had different changes. One of them looked lighter in color, and the other was deeper. At this moment, his eyes shook, and a wave of light surged out from his eyes. In a blink of an eye, it swept around. The large area around seemed to be shrouded in an invisible fire absolute wonderland. The fire absolute wonderland was different from the golden eye realm. This fairyland is invisible and shadowless, but it has undergone tremendous changes. In this area, for a moment, the world turned upside down, as if the world was created. All the hot breath in it went up to the sky, and all the cold rolled down to the ground. Of course, no matter hot or cold, it was like a flame burning. According to legend, when the world was created, the clear air rose to form the sky, and the turbid air sank to form the earth. Now the changes in the Huoju fairyland are like this, and all of this is controlled by Wu Yu's eyes, which makes this magical power produce tremendous changes. It's just that the rise and fall did not create the world, but two eyes. Above the sky, there is a fiery red eye, burning red, extremely huge as the miniature of the world of fire that Yezixi just saw. The eyeball rolled, it was really hot, and it was like the eyes of God. Being stared at like this was really creepy. At the foot, there is another eye, corresponding to the eye of heaven. This eye is dark red and cold, but it also burns with flames, but it is colder and sharper. The eyeball is like a real person. This eye of the earth is more gloomy and colder. The fire fairyland created the eye of heaven and the eye of the earth, and these two eyes were looking at Yezixi at this time, which scared Yezixi so much that she screamed, "What the hell is this, so scary?" The sky and the earth both cracked an eye, which was indeed a bit scary. In fact, Wu Yu can leave completely, and the other party can't catch up with him. Besides, Wu Yu doesn't want to hurt her. After all, there are not many such pure and lovely girls. He felt that Yezixi was quite beautiful, so when Huoju Fairyland attacked, he was a little off. This chapter is not finished yet, please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. Boom. The eye of heaven and the eye of the earth erupted into vast pillars of fire almost simultaneously. The colors were slightly different, but the power of the upper and lower parts was definitely explosive. After being combined with the power of the fire spirit fairy liquid, it became extremely terrifying. The position where Yezixi was originally was where the power of the two eyes collided, but because Wu Yu adjusted the direction of the attack, the point of collision was in front of Yezixi's eyes. The power exploded, and the hot and cold collided. These two eyes produce wonderful changes, the power produced is quite powerful, and the movement is extremely huge. This kind of lethality is indeed much improved compared to the Golden Eye realm. Boom boom boom. In this fierce collision, Yezixi was forced to fly out. Of course she also resisted, but the attack was covered and suppressed by Wu Yu, and she also knew that Wu Yu did not intend to attack her. Mean. But the huge power of the fire wonderland still shocked her. The up and down impact of the two eyes was really powerful, making her feel terrified. At this time, Wu Yu let the sky-swallowing body return to the floating life tower, and after releasing the remaining explosive power in his eyes finally returned to normal, the flames no longer burned, and the fire-ending fairyland in his eyes finally after stabilizing, it was finally considered a complete success. He was not afraid of Yezixi at this time, so he went forward. At this time, Yezixi was not very injured. She rushed forward and did not rush to take action. When she saw Wu Yu regained her human form and asked, "Why don't you attack me? Such a good opportunity." Wu Yu said, "You have such a high status, I don't dare to offend you." The other party looked into his eyes and said slightly angrily, "You took away my fire spirit immortal liquid and used it. Do you believe it or not, if I crush a talisman, I can make a group of elders who are in the realm of the three disasters Dao realm, appear immediately and take your life. Of course I believe it. Wu Yu could leave at any time, but it would be great if he could make peace with this girl. After all, he still doesn't understand how the other party found him, so he quickly asked, "I have a question. I am very curious. I hid so well, how could you find me?" Yezixi said angrily, "Are you scared? You have offended me this time. No matter where you run away to the end of the world, my laziness can find you. This is its talent, not smell or anything else, but it knows where are you. Xuanhuan cat, does it still have this ability? This all things spirit is really a treasure. Even Wu Yu wants one. If Xuanhuan cat didn't have only one owner, he would have wanted to snatch it away. No, you must pay me something equivalent to the treasure of fire spirit fairy liquid. You can give me your sword," Yezixi said unwillingly. "That sword is not suitable for you. It is cold and it is useless if you want it." Wu Yu had a headache. It seemed that the girl had no intention of reconciliation. "I want it, but if you don't give it, I'll keep an eye on you. I've been looking for the fire spirit fairy liquid for so long, and it finally got into my magic circle. That's what I rushed in. You came in and stole it, don't lie to me. So no matter what, you won't give up, right?" Wu Yu was also a little irritable. "Yes, unless you compensate me." She was cute, but now she was also messing around, which made Wu Yu lose all good feelings for her. In this case, he didn't bother to stay here, and said directly, "Then I'll wait for you to catch me. Goodbye." Having said that, he didn't use the second stage of the somersault cloud and directly rode the somersault cloud and flew away. "Don't run," Yezixi chased after him, but after all, this was not Wu Yu's sky-swallowing body. After a while, she could only see magma everywhere, and Wu Yu had long since disappeared. "I'm so angry. Wow," Yezixi was about to cry. The Xuanhuan cat came out of her body and was very irritable, but it still nestled in her arms, meowing in the direction of Wu Yu, with a displeased look on its face. "Lazy, I must vent my anger for you and break this monkey's tail for you to play with." Meow, the white cat's eyes lit up. I'm going to pluck his hair and make him a duster for you to play with. Meow, the white cat's eyes brightened. So, you have to find him for me. Of course, I have to find a helper first so that he can't escape. Meow meow meow. Heaven Swallowing Record. Author, Feng-Qing Yang. Chapter 860. The success of the Fire Absolute Fairyland has greatly improved Wu Yu's combat power. Especially when it first broke out, it was able to hurt Yezixi in her strongest state. However, Wu Yu also gained something else, which was the increase of his Dao realm. He was clearer about his will and fighting spirit, and he knew himself better. He also knew what he was carrying and what he needed. The third level of the Yuanshen realm is short of the Dao Yuanshen pill. In fact, at this time, no one could have thought that he was actually at this level. In terms of realm, it was too low. But this is indeed Wu Yu's true level. After all, the time he really practiced Taoism was actually very short. It was difficult for Wu Yu to save the Dao Yuanshen pill, mainly because the consumption of the law-free clone was too great. In the place of the god's capital, everything can be bought, but Wu Yu just can't go shopping. He can't even afford the simplest things. Usually, refining some pills by himself is not enough to consume. Fortunately, this is the lava hell. This means that he can cause trouble for the ghost cultivators and rob them. In the capital of the gods, people of noble status are everywhere, and it is not so easy to rob openly. Here, the Ghost Flame clan is everywhere. Before today, Wu Yu basically hid no matter what kind of Ghost Flame clan he met, but from this moment on, he began to deliberately look for hunting targets. The fire eyes and golden pupils succeeded. He temporarily put the ghost array guest aside and let the main body improve its realm first. For now, this is the most important thing. He wandered in the lava world near the Blood Hell Cave. It was very deep here, and there were basically no Yanhuang clan, so the Ghost Flame clan was very relaxed, going back and forth between the major bases, or in this lava world, looking for some treasures suitable for them. For a long time, there are still many Ghost Flame clan inheritances here. The spiritual energy here is actually very magnificent, especially the magma. After merging a lot of spiritual energy, it also has a nourishing effect. In some places, many treasures and immortals are still born. The Ghost Flame clan is looking for this kind. And Wu Yu is looking for this kind of Ghost Flame clan. Of course, he ignored those above the three disasters and asked about the Dao realm. If he met those at the three disasters and asked about the Dao realm, he would leave directly. If he met those at the Yuanshen Huaxing realm, there would be two situations. Some of them had no grudges against Wu Yu and did not look so vicious. After seeing Wu Yu, they fled in a hurry and did not dare to fight with Wu Yu. No matter what realm they were in, Wu Yu would chase them. He would not kill or injure anyone, but he would snatch the Dao Yuanshen pills in their sumi bags. Another part of them, after seeing Wu Yu, were fierce and ferocious, calling friends and friends, with ferocious faces, and the Dao weapons they used were basically vicious and evil, and they wanted to put Wu Yu to death without mercy, and there was no room for negotiation. If they had a strong smell of blood and evil on their bodies, Wu Yu would take away the sumi bag and send them to the west at the same time. Then, the heaven-devouring body will devour his flesh and blood, and when it gradually reaches the same level as the original body's soul realm, or even slightly approaches the three disasters Dao realm, as long as his original body's soul can still dominate and will not be overwhelmed by the desire to devour, it will be fine. In fact, this heaven-devouring body still has a certain impact on Wu Yu's Dao realm. Sometimes, he must have a firm heart and think calmly, otherwise, it will only cause his Dao to fall into chaos, which will not be of any benefit to the original body and the heaven-devouring body. Even if cultivation involves plundering, only when one is strong can one be chivalrous. All people in this world who practice Taoism are plundering, taking the creation of heaven and earth, and taking the divine light of the sun and moon. It's just that the sky-devouring beast is more simple and crude, but there is no problem. Whether it is the main body or the sky-devouring body, how to obtain it in a proper way, not falling into a vicious cycle of breaking the rules, and being able to maintain rationality is the right way. There is nothing wrong with swallowing. There is a difference between me and the sky-devouring demon ancestor. Wu Yu, at least now, has a clear understanding. He will never have any psychological burden because he devoured the flesh and blood of the Ghost Flame clan. His main body and sky-devouring body are now in a state of balance and complete integration. Everything he does is justified. Even if others may not understand, Wu Yu himself fully understands it. This is his Tao, and there is no need to understand it better than others. A cultivator is firm in his heart. Go forward courageously. As for whether the Tao is correct, you will know if you can become an immortal. If the Tao is not correct, you will not become an immortal. This is where he is better than others. If others use the heaven-devouring body, they may become the heaven-devouring demon ancestor because of the inner chaos, whether they dare not to devour or devour wantonly. In this way, Wu Yu spent about half a month. During this period of time, the Flame Dragon generals of the Flame Dragon Legion dared not come in, and the people of the Thunder Flame Legion were all dormant outside, waiting for the Ghost Array guest to come out. Perhaps they all knew that the Ghost Array guest was in a place called Blood Hell Cave. And Wu Yu had a huge harvest. After half a month of hunting, he got millions of Dao Yuan Shen pills, which must be enough for the main body and the law-free clone to improve. At the same time, the heaven-devouring body was also upgraded to the peak of the Yuan Shen realm. Wu Yu was not so crazy yet, so he was a little restrained. It was not so troublesome for him to control the heaven-devouring body of this realm. Before his main body was upgraded this time, it was actually quite troublesome. If the heaven-devouring body surpassed the main body for a long time, it would seriously affect his Dao, and it would be more troublesome than the gain. Of course, because of this wanton hunting, Wu Yu's reputation has spread throughout the Ghost Flame clan. Everyone knows that a member of the Yanhuang clan actually ran to the hinterland of the Ghost Flame clan. He is so bold. The key is that he also kills people recklessly and robs the Dao Yuan Shen pill. He simply does not take the Ghost Flame clan seriously. This chapter is not finished yet. Please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content. So a large number of Ghost Flame clan came out in the later period to hunt down Wu Yu, whether it was the Yuan Shen Huaxing realm or the Three Disasters asking for the Wei realm. As for the Zifukanghai realm, they all had no courage. After all, Wu Yu was considered to be below the Three Disasters asking for the Wei realm, and was almost invincible. In this way, Wu Yu's resources are more abundant. He dodges when he encounters the Three Disasters asking for the Wei realm, and takes action when he encounters the Yuan Shen Huaxing realm. He has never missed. His somersault cloud gives him the greatest advantage. No wonder Ming Long said that this magical power is more useful than the other three. If she had practiced this magical power well, Wu Yu would not have had any problems now. If Chu Ying came here, he would not be able to come and go freely like Wu Yu. The Ghost Flame clan was furious, and more strong men were dispatched. They all knew that this person was called Wu Yu, and they also obtained some information about Wu Yu, and even spread a net, but the funny thing was that they could not catch Wu Yu. After all, the lava hell is large, and it blocks the vision. People with poor sense of direction may even get lost. It is easy for Wu Yu to hide in it and move. Such an environment is simply heaven for him, much better than the Yinhuan Sea prison. After harvesting enough, he will complete an important step, that is, to improve his realm. During this time, let the devouring body guard the floating life tower for a while. He began to refine the Dao Yuan Shen pill in the floating life tower to nourish the purple mansion Kanghai and Yuan Shen. His own realm of Dao is enough, and it is not difficult to improve to the Yuan Shen realm. After all, he has enough Dao Yuanshen pills in his hand. When Wu Yu's body was upgraded to the third level of the Yuanshen realm, his purple palace Yuanli increased greatly. Of course, compared with other people, this realm and purple palace Yuanli were still relatively weak. After encountering stronger and stronger opponents, he found that the advantage of the Dragon King Buddha indestructible body was not as great as before. The effect of this upgrade, whether it was the devouring heaven body or the body, was actually not that great. Without a major improvement in the Vajra indestructible body, Wu Yu's body's ability to fight across levels would gradually decline, and it would no longer be possible to reach the level of crossing 7 or 8 levels. Now relying on the body alone, Wu Yu estimated that even with the magical power of the Fire Absolute Fairyland, it would still be difficult to take down the level of the Yakin Prince alone, but he could fight against the skeleton flame dragon. 10,000 lawless clones soon consumed all the Dao Yuanshen pills that Wu Yu had harvested this time. These lawless clones have now been upgraded to a level. Tens of thousands of clones are still quite powerful. Their various Taoist techniques are really good when combined. Wu Yu's various methods are all at the heaven-defying level. The only thing he lacks is the purple palace energy, but this is related to the time he has practiced Taoism, and there is no way to force it. After becoming stronger in all aspects, Wu Yu thought that maybe he could try to challenge the ghost formation guest. After all, I have only fought him before, and he is not that scary, Wu Yu thought. Anyway, he is more and more confident in the escapability of the somersault cloud. This time, he relied on this ability to fool many ghost flames. Standing in the lava, he pondered for a while and made a decision. Although the skeleton flame dragon is good, with my current realm and the devouring heaven body, I might be able to defeat the puppet equivalent to the 3 disasters asking realm. I should try to challenge a stronger existence than the skeleton flame dragon. After making the decision, he first moved away from his current location and walked above the lava hell. After walking for half a day, he arrived at a place where there were fewer ghost flame clan. Then, he felt relieved to leave the floating life tower alone outside and let the main body and the devouring heaven body enter the floating life tower at the same time. This lava hell is full of magma. If the floating life tower is discovered by others outside, it will be quite troublesome. Especially if it has been found by a strong person, so of course, Wu Yu should challenge the new puppet as soon as possible. He and the body of Tianyan were on the left and the right. Tianyan's body held the beaming Emperor K in his hand, exuding a sinister aura like the deep sea of the underworld, while Wu Yu's body was completely the opposite. He used the law of heaven and earth to transform the power of flesh and blood to the maximum extent, and at the same time transformed into the golden fairy ape, which was even more sturdy. The 10,000 dragon stick was controlled in his hand, and its power was also extremely brutal.